ụlọ nsọ gị Chukwu ka anyị na-abata, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Anya bịawa ịsọpụrụ gị ugbu a, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Chukwu nna n'ụlọ gị ka anyị na-akpọ gị, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Otito na-adịrị gị mgbe niile, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike.
Otite niile dịrị Chineke, ụbọchị dị elu, Chukwu obiọma, Chidi ebere, Olisa nwa amara, ka ụzọ anyị niile ọbụla niile bụrụ ihe, ka ihe ọbụla kpatara aka bụrụ sọ mma, ka ụwa niile site n'ozi ọma anyị a nwụsị obi aṅụrị taa mgbe niile ebighị ebi ọfọ ya gazie. Ise. All praises to Chi the Creator, Chi the Supreme Being, Chi the Good, Chi the Merciful, Chi the Magnificent with grace. Let every area of our lives be light. Let all our acts be crowned with good. And may the world prosper from our ministry, now and forever. So let it be. Amen.
And so it is. This is Mama.
Cow, you might.
Sam today.
You know, come to your own footsteps. Come dealing okay, Divya. You know, it was some glasses in there, man. All that talk about who no.
Mama, thank you for that wonderful prayer, and thank you everyone for joining us today for this beautiful presentation today. Thank you, Divya Yudi, for coming and obviously gracing us with your presence. It's always an honor. And for whoever is out there, we are praying for nothing but goodness for you. We ask Anyanwu Chineke. Anya na huzo na ihe niile. May Chineke see everything in our path. Anything that's going to do us harm. And I see Chineke because wepia. You do okwale and I say Igwe Amadioha Kamalo. If all bola actually no chanyozo unukugbo ya obkwezioku. If all bola actually no chanyozo, those forces of Chineke step on it. Zowa panishi wa wulie zowa ekutugwa Nothing but power, nothing but goodness is going to follow us today. That's what we're feeling. And I see, today we move in holy boldness. We speak the truth, and we expect people to speak truth around us. And if that doesn't happen, we don't need them around us. You dear woman.
Hello, man. Is okay.
I say, and now you're Chineke. Now say, Imomini. Because the deep waters, everything that we need to work with, bring it up to the surface. The depth of who we are is in us. We just need to raise it from the depths of our being and bring it to light. Forgive everything that we've done in the past. For those of us who are wishing to have children, we ask for you to make sure that it happens. The spirit of the waters, move things around us. Let anything that we want to happen, let it happen. Allah, Mother Earth, make sure that our foundation is strong, that we walk holy boldness. We're not scared of nobody. You are what life is all about. Without earth, we can't move anywhere. The steps that we take is Allah that's in charge of that. And I say Allah, don't let us fall. Hold us together. We are surrounded right now by so much chaos. Not just in America, anywhere you look, there's chaos. Something is happening. Something is happening. So I see Chineke, if any long na bi na ekotukwa, jinte wanya, jinto waka. We ask the ancestors to guide us as they are supposed to. Guide the spirit of humanity, the minds, those who seem lost. We need to tap into the energies of our ancestors and ask for guidance, because what's happening. But the thing about it, UD, is we are not out of control. We are still in control.
Yep.
We're still in control. There are certain things that we may not control, but in general, we control a lot more than we give ourselves credit. So today, we ask for intervention from all the holies around us. Yagazir. 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 You know, Yudi, I had a conversation with a Nigerian friend of mine.
Yes.
And for the most part, you know, I'm an open person. You know, I try to be accommodating. I try not to argue. You know, it is what it is. You know, you believe what you want to believe, and that's okay. But I don't remember how the conversation came to why they don't see me in church. And why is it that I don't believe in the Lord and all of that? I said, but do you believe in Jesus? He says, yes. I said, well, then if it works for you, it's okay. What's the argument?
What's wrong with that? I ain't arguing with you.
Believe what you want to believe. But I started telling her that I believe in Chineke, and I believe in nature, and all the alusi around nature that supports who I am as a human being. Oh my goodness, she lost it. She says, you know, this is the 21st century, that I should give up on all those African things. Now, this is a Nigerian woman who I should give up on all those African things, you know, because all those things are antiquated. It has no place in the 21st century. She made a list of things that they're going to be doing, and she wants me to come to it and all that. And I said to her, I said, let me tell you what's important about life. UD. Everybody is working their own green mile, if I may use that expression.
Yeah.
We're all guided by living. What guides you may not be what guides me, and it's perfectly okay. But don't stand there and tell me that what guides me is wrong. This is when you begin to own Chineke. Nobody owns Chineke. Every culture has their own way of going to Chineke and what they believe. The important thing is whatever you believe, how is that working for you? How is that working for you? So when I told her about the Arun, that we believe in Arunsi, those are the spirit of nature that Chineke put in place to help us. She had a fit over that. So I had to have a conversation with her. I said, let's look at other religions and their own Arunsi. They may call it something different. But let's talk about that, and then we'll get to your own. Let's talk about Islam. Islam believes in Allah, but at the same time, they also have who they call angels, Malaika. Okay? These are angels that Allah created from light. And all these angels have various things that they do. It's not, you can go to chat AI, you can go anywhere, and you will read about this. It's not something I came up with. They serve various functions. Example is Angel Gabriel. And his role is to record human deeds and guiding souls, right? And in Islam, everyone has 2 recording angels. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly. Kiraman Katibin. I don't know if it's correct. If it's incorrect, I apologize. That's theirs. Besides Allah, they believe in all these other spirits that guide human beings. That is their focus. That's what they believe in. Then you have in Hinduism, same thing. They have the divine beings that they call devas. Okay, they provide the same thing: protection and guidance. Now they also have their gurus, who are spiritual teachers, and they play crucial roles, guiding people on their journey. You have the same thing in Shintoism. There are kami, spirits or deities that inhabit natural elements and ancestors, kind of similar to African. They can act as protectors, and they can also act as spiritual guides, offering blessings and guidance to individuals and communities. Then you have Buddhism, same thing, they have their own. Then you have Zoroastrianism, they have their own. In Ifa, the African religion, you have Orishas. They have the Orishas. These are spiritual guides. These are deities that represent natural forces and aspects of life, providing guidance and wisdom to individuals through divination and rituals. We, in Igbo spirituality, we also have our own. It's called Arunsi. I said, and you're an Igbo woman. Do you know anything about Arunsi? What is that? No, you don't know. You want to lecture me about believing what you believe in, but you don't even know what your ancestors believe in. These are considered divinely appointed spiritual graces of Chineke, found in nature, and guide every individual in the community. They provide spiritual and moral guidance. So when somebody says to you, I don't see, you freak out. What is that? Then you make the sign of the cross because you are appalled, but you don't even know what it is. These spiritual, these ROC, they provide spiritual moral guidance, interpreting relevance of natural phenomena in our lives. Each one of us have these graces that become our lives. But we have the liberty to focus on the arunsi that signifies a particular need that we may have. In African spirituality, you build a shrine for your personal arunsi or for all of it if you want to. I have a room in my house right now that I'm trying to create arunsi for all. Because at some point, I have a need for a different arunsi. The point I'm trying to make, and if I may go to Images and Mysticism, written by Ahan Keokonyoha, the founder of Chiism. He says that in science of mysticism, which holds that which is fancied and focused on the mind transposes to form and demands environmental serenity and psychological focusing, such as shrines and the images provide. For all of Arunsi, in Igbo spirituality, you have a shrine, except for Anyanwu. We don't have a shrine for Anyanwu. But you have a shrine for all the Arunsi. For psychological focusing. And it could be, I can't sit here today and tell you, oh, this is how your Amajoha should be, or Kamalu should be, or Fijoko, and all of that. Oh, Fijoko, by the way, is next to the ancestors, the spirit responsible for vegetation and all of that. But people for different cultures in Igbo land even, they have their own shrines dedicated to the Arunsi of their choice, or for all of it. But this offers you psychological focusing. Whatever it is that you're looking for, if you have your shrine, you go to that shrine and ask for what you want. Please, people, understand it is for environmental tranquility, where you can sit quietly with that image in front of you, whatever it may be that you conjure up as the image that allows you to understand or to visualize that Arunsi. You create it. And that's why if you go to a Buddhist homes, you do your Bukwezio.
Yeah.
You go to Buddhist home, you see the Buddhist, they have their Buddhist shrines. What's your own? I'm creating one. When you come back, you see it so beautiful. I'm creating my own shrine, but I'm not creating it for one particular shrine. I'm creating it for all of them. I'm creating it for all of them. If you go to a Christian home, you find the image of Jesus Christ. That's a shrine in honor of Jesus. But the person who's praying, it gives them environmental tranquility and psychological focusing. Where is yours? If you are chaste, you must have your own shrine. If I come to your home, believe it or not, in African spirituality, we don't say, oh, my shrine is better than anyone. I can go to your shrine and swear by your shrine. I can come to your home and worship with you by your shrine. We never, in African spirituality, we don't fight over religion. We honor every aspect of nature. The Arunsi. If you go to the village today, it's not true. The chief will take you to his shrine in honor of a particular Arunsi. Now you find people who have left the African culture will see that as, oh my God, 21st century. What is 21st century? What's the difference? 21st century means we abandon who we are.
I don't even think they know what that means.
They don't even know. And you glorify, make it as beautiful as you want, even if it's images that you create. Make it as beautiful as possible, because this is where, and believe it or not, what works when you pray, it's not occasional prayer here, occasional. You must have that thing that offers you psychological focusing, and you sit in front of it. Sit in front of it. Ask for what you want. Anything you focus your mind And that's what he says here. Mysticism seeks to link the spirit of humanity, of a human being, to Chineke. It holds that without symbols in which the holy or the sacred is embodied and focused on the mind, the experience of the holy vanishes. You cannot, not in our spirituality, you don't pray in emptiness. You have to have a focus. You have to have something that creates a focus for your mind. In the movement toward the linkage of the soul of a person with Chineke, there are naturally stages and processes marked differently in different traditions. And that is why we understand the differences. That's why we don't have a war over spirituality. Africans don't fight. You do not be so.
Yeah, it's true.
Africans don't fight. We honor, we respect people's shrines. We never fight over it. The discipline of prayer, purification, contemplation, fasting, meditation, environmental serenity, and rituals remove impediments to the movement of the soul toward linkage with Chineke, and focuses the mind upon the given problem to distill the specific grace sought. When you have prayer, you have to have a symbol in front of you, and you have a specific need that you want that symbol to mentally and spiritually offer you. It's never wise to ask for everything. You're not focused.
Where's Joker?
Focus on what exactly at that moment that you need, and stand before that symbol that offers you that environmental tranquility and psychological focusing. In my home, I usually don't start anything until I've done my prayer. But my prayer is not wild. It's not Chineke meremunka, meremunka, meremunka. It's specific to what it is I'm looking for. And because it's specific to what I'm looking for, then I'm focused on achieving whatever it is I'm asking for. Remember, when you pray, actually you're asking for the opportunity to focus for that thing to happen. And people think, oh, when you pray, you just give it up to Chineke and you walk away. No, you are focused on making sure. If you think that Chineke, if you think that the Arunsi have heard your prayer, you're going to work along with that Arunsi to make sure that happens. If you're looking for a job and you go out and you pray in front of Fijoko, and you say you want, or any of the spirit, and you say you want a job, do you then go home and sit down and say, okay, Kamchere, the job is going to come to me, right? Is that how it works? True. Yeah. Because you focused on that, then you're going to go out there and focus on making that become a reality. These little things that our ancestors did, that many of us who think we're in the 21st century, are all disbanded. We're disbanding them. But you know what? The good news is, UD, many people are coming together. Okay? So let me just give this example, UD, and then I'll let you take over. It is within this philosophy that our ancestors set up the shrines in undisturbed locations, isolations, for each specific attribute or grace of Chineke they wanted to invoke or call into play. If you want to practice African spirituality, be serious about it. Don't listen to people who don't understand mysticism. They don't understand that cross they have up there is part of their own mysticism. They don't know Angel Gabriel, all those angels. It's all part of their mysticism. Many of them are they use the amulet and all that sort of thing, and they call upon a particular angel. They're doing it. But when it comes to you, you see that as a negative thing. You want to run. If you want to practice African spirituality, be serious about it, because what you practice guides your behavior. It guides how you move through your day. Thus, in closing, at the Fijoku shrine, a person's desire for agricultural wealth is symbolized. At the Kamalu Shango shrine, because the Yoruba religion is very similar to Igbo religion, spirituality rather. At the Kamalu Shango, Kamalu is the same thing as Shango in Ifa religion. Kamalu shrine, his desire or her desire for protection or vengeance against his enemy is symbolized and focused. That's why Igwe, Kamalu, those are the forces that we call upon when we want to stand against our enemies. We ask for those forces. You did not be so.
It's true.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if he wants to go to, he or she wants to go to Agunsi, which is the equivalence of Urimila, okay? Urimila shrine to seek for healthcare for Agunsi or Urimila is the metaphysics on which native doctors lean their tribal medical practices in all its dimensions, from its physical, metaphysical, spiritual, and mystical dimensions. At the Allah shrine, morality is enforced. Ekurochie or Imommiri, Oshun or Olokun. It's important for those who practice Ifa to know the similarity, okay, that to Igbo spirituality. It says that at the Allah shrine, morality is enforced. Ekurochie or Imommiri, Oshun or Olokun. In them Abase, that's the ethic, or Owu shrine, takes care of the quest for children, monetary and general wealth. Ofonogu shrine takes care of truth, justice and fair play, and good conscience. In most areas, there are no shrines for the sun. That's a whole different conversation next time. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we have to apply those sources of strength, those spiritual strength that we have in our spirituality that guide our behavior or guide our wishes. But we can't talk about being chaste or being African spiritualists by not focusing on those things, on those particular symbols that offer us environmental tranquility and psychological focusing. Yudi?
I mean, you pretty much said it all. I really appreciate the comparative analysis that you had done, showcasing the similarities between religions. And I think that because of the educational system, that existed when these foreign religions were permeating African communities, that African spirituality, religion was demonized, and the narrative was that anything that didn't, follow the path prescribed in the Bible, was blasphemy, was evil, and must be cast into hell. So in that process, they were able to convince some of us, to follow that path professionally, where we became bishops and priests. And some of us rose to the title of a cardinal in the Catholic Church, And while a lot of us, specifically the Catholics, hail these people as religious heroes and thinking that these people make them tolerable, to the European, end up learning a hard lesson that what they thought of you when they came is still what they think of you till today, and they'll continue to think of you that way until you demand better, and this is why we do what we do, to try to let our people know that our spirituality, has stood the test of time. There is nothing that we're doing that nobody else is doing in their own spirituality. We believe in live and let live. We believe that every human being has a right to worship Chineke in the way they understand best without bitterness. That is a core African spiritual tenet. whether you're from West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, if you're sub-Saharan Africa, our spirituality is pretty much the same. We call things different names. We're given different names like Ubangiji and Tamuna Ji Ami Chineke, but we're all talking about God.
Yes.
Anya, we're still speaking about what allows you to see the world as it is. It's very important that people of African ancestry try to tap into forums and sources that try to dispel this notion that we, our spirituality, because of the varying alucies and the different compartmentalization of the Almighty that you see in African spirituality and in all other religions, in paganism, in Norse culture. There is this compartmentalization of ontology, of all traditional ontologies. For us, it's Anyanwu, and then from Anyanwu, it's Ofonogu, then you have Agunsi, then you have Kamalo, the forces of nature, the forces in the sky, and then you have Ani that you had talked about, Okedivia, then you have Ekurochie and Imomiri, then you have Fijoko, and last but not least, our ancestors. Like every other culture have ancestors. If you go to the Bible, it's full of ancestors. David, Abraham, Moses, these are all ancestors. In Judaism, you go to Muhammad Ali, Islam, they have their own ancestors. You go to Christianity, you got Saint Vincent, Saint that, Saint Ambrose, blah, blah, blah. They got their ancestors. Every religion has one. We do too. But we need to be able to talk about our ancestry just the way we talk about their ancestry. As an African, when you're talking about Moses and you're beating your chest and, talking as a matter of fact that you know what's going on in Hebrew theology, but you take pride in talking about somebody else's stuff, but you don't talk about yours. Like Dr. Henry Clark said, we're good about, telling somebody else's story, but we haven't told our story yet. So we need to really talk about African spirituality specifically to Africans so that we can understand that there is nothing that we do in African spirituality that people don't do in their own spirituality. Most religions believe in a creator. Now you could call it what you want. You could call it Allah. You could call it Jehovah, Chineke, Tamuna, whatever. But you're talking about the same thing. Call it what you want, but you're still talking about the creator. What you call it is absolutely not important. In the larger scheme of things, you're still referring to the same thing. So you shouldn't insist that the creator should be known by a specific name for it to be relevant. That's not how it works. We all don't speak English. We all don't speak Arabic. We all don't speak Chinese. We all don't speak Igbo. So you shouldn't expect me as an Igbo person to figure out what they call Chineke in some Persian country if I've never been there. And if somebody comes and tells me, no, you stop calling it Chineke, you got to call it a Persian name, I have a problem with it.
Yes.
We need to tell our own story and not let people tell our story. I think we really need to make a concerted effort. I mean, if you truly want to be free up here, to embrace African spirituality, religion, because all human systems are products of religion. The educational system, civic laws, rules, politics, science, they're all products of religion. And I think it's healthier that you see the world through your own prism, through your own experiences, following your own history, the path that was taken by your ancestors, those that came before us, those that are responsible for the language that we speak, our traditional languages, those that are responsible for our traditional clothing, traditional medicine, education, our belief in God, those that gave us our culture, what we believe in today as a people, are our ancestors, passing information from one generation to the next. All cultures revere their ancestors. All cultures understand the importance of their ancestry. And we should look at ourselves the same way that the Vikings and the Europeans look at their own ancestry, and not let somebody demonize our way of life, telling us that we knew nothing before they came to our shores with the Quran and the Bible in tow. Nte in English is ear, and I'm sure in Arabic it's something else. But we're still talking about the ear. Imi, nose. I'm sure in Chinese it's something else, but we're still talking about the same thing. We all do the same thing. We express it differently, but the purpose is the same. If you go to pagan culture, you have Zeus, Aphrodite, Hades, Titan. These are all pagan, Arunsi, all of them. Norse culture, you have Odin, you have Thor, Loki, etc., etc., etc. They're all Alusis. You come to Igbo, you have Kamalo, you have Anyamu, you have Ofonogu, you have Ekurochie, you have Imumiri. They're all Alusis, all of them. Same thing. Just called something different, but the meaning is the same. And once we, as people of African ancestry, begin to understand that, once we start telling our own story, start beating our own chest, start acting like there's something about your Africanness that is worth flaunting to the rest of the world, particularly spiritually, because it is believed that it is the African that give the world a conscience. You know, humanity started in Africa, so you cannot argue that. About 270,000 years ago, the Great Migration started from Central Africa to Europe, to Asia, to Australia, so on and so forth. It all started in Central Africa. But we have to get to a point where we find it absolutely imperative to start to re-educate people of African descent. They're the ones, we're the ones that need this education, not the rest of the world.
Yes.
The rest of the world don't need to understand me. I just need to understand myself.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese doesn't need you to understand him. He just needs to understand himself. Same thing with the European. Same thing with the African. If you know yourself, then you know where you're going. If you don't know yourself, man, it's like this, wall that you're putting up. Wall of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
You're so ignorant to the point that we don't see any value in anything African. When we look at Africans, we look at ourselves as people that we didn't contribute anything to civilized behavior, nothing in sciences. We didn't cure sicknesses before they came to our shores. We didn't have any working system of governance before they came to our shores. We didn't have any armies before they came. We didn't have any science before they came. We had nothing. We were just swinging from tree to tree. As if when they came to Africa, they didn't see and meet great empires. They did. One of the biggest trading partners of Europe was the Ghanaian Empire. A long time ago. But quite frankly, to tell you the truth, a lot of stuff, if it wasn't for what our parents had taught us at home, A lot of things that I got to find out about African history, I didn't learn it in primary school in Nigeria, and sure as hell didn't learn it in high school. Not even in college. A lot of the research was from what I heard from my parents and those that I pursued on my own. To become enlightened, to have unkomi, to become a deep thinker. To understand that it's not about telling me the messages of your messiahs, but it's really about, did you get the message? In the end, what were they really trying to say? Did you get the message? Are we living in peace? Do we have any understanding?
In other words, it doesn't matter from where the message is coming from. Did you get the important message in it?
Exactly.
What you're saying is, quite frankly, we are so caught up in which way is the best way that we miss the message.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Everybody claiming preeminence over the other one.
I want to touch upon something you raised earlier, and that is the ancestors. This continues to be an area or a topic that people don't understand the significance. Africans do not worship ancestors. We don't worship ancestors.
Yeah.
They exist in memoriam. We remember them. And I want to read this from Ahan KOK's book. Below all of these, in the structure of being, the structure of spiritual beings, the ancestors exist in memoriam as the fountain from which each family unit draws inspiration for sticking together, for higher aspirations, pride, self-confidence, and noble deeds. By remembering them, even having a shrine in their honor, they continue to live in memoriam. So when we say we conjure up the spirit of the ancestors, we're acknowledging them. Because without them, we are nothing. We wouldn't be here. So we honor them.
Not only that, just real quickly, just to buttress what you just said. Not only we honor them, let's understand our knowledge of God is because our ancestors were.
Yes.
If it wasn't for our ancestors, we would not have knowledge of the Creator.
That's right.
So people need to understand that. I just want to throw that in there.
Thank you. It's so important. And we are reminded, if you call the name of the ancestors, their spirit continue to be alive, so to speak. They continue to live in your memory. If you don't call upon them, they disappear, they die. Those ancestors, those spirits, those energies, you're calling upon those energies of the ancestors that lived to empower you in any given moment. That's why we build a shrine in their honor. To remember them. Go to Eastern European, Asian cultures. They have shrines in honor of their ancestors.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, see, when you remember your ancestors, you remember as they lived. Who were they? Were they powerful? Were they weak? You can tap into that knowledge that your ancestors were this. You have to research. Take the time and know your ancestors. Who are your ancestors? Go as far back as you can go. Find out who were your ancestors. Who are they? If I ask you today, who are your ancestors? How many of you can tell me beyond your grandmother? Maybe great-grandmother, great-grandfather. But do you know that the great-grandfather, the great-grandmother, they had mothers and fathers too?
Yeah.
Can you go back? Now, I dare say that a lot of us may not be able to go back too far if information was not preserved for us. I get that. But at the same time, make the effort to find out what you can beyond grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Most of us don't go beyond that. Now, some will go beyond great grandmother. You know, there are some people who actually keep records. But if you don't know who is in your family, you don't know who your ancestors are, what power they have, what power and energy you can tap into. What you remember, what you focus on becomes your reality. They live through your remembrance. They live in memoriam. Okay, so it's important. Why do I have self-confidence? Who in my ancestral, what ancestor of mine was very prideful and had self-confidence? If I find that in myself, maybe I'm like that ancestor. You are De Gideon.
Yeah, they give.
Gideon. You have his mannerism. Everything about UD is
my granduncle.
Grand uncle. Every UD looks like him, has his mannerism.
Yeah.
Hey, you are his reincarnate. Okay.
Even
All right.
got the scars from where he was injured above his knee. I got a birthmark right there too.
Yes, it's important. It's important. Find out. My husband has this. I mean, shocked the heck out of me. This album that has his ancestors dating into the 18th, 17th century. I couldn't believe it. Somebody kept that log, and he's got all of that.
Wow.
But a lot of it himself, he researched to find. I mean, he has more information about his ancestors than I do. Wow. Unfortunately, I can only go so far. But if you can go far, look into it. Do you have an ancestor? Are you somebody who's very ambitious? Maybe you have an ancestor that you took after that's very ambitious. That's why you are the way you are. There's a reason why maybe you have a warrior ancestors. Why is it that you're always you're protective? You always feel the obligation to be to protect. Maybe you represent the reincarnate of an ancestor. You see what I'm saying? So it's important to know. Every morning, my daughter in the University of Florida, Helena, every morning she calls and we pour libations and we call upon the ancestors and all that. It gets her day going. She will call me every morning. Okay, Mom, we need to pour libations. I've got this, I've got this. So, I offer her psychological focus and based on what she's looking for. And I always remind her that we are surrounded by the ancestors and the ancestors are there spiritually in your memory. You cannot remember. Someday you are going to be an ancestor. You want to be remembered. But this is our tradition, people. It's a beautiful tradition. When people don't understand it and ridicule it, then it is our responsibility to say, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't acquiesce. Don't run. Don't become embarrassed to be all that you are. Be who you are. Be who you are and flaunt it. This is my people. This is what we believe in. Today, I started this program talking about the African Mysticism shrines. Build a shrine in your home. Build a shrine for your ancestors. Build a shrine for your and the DBS. The DBS will tell you the particular Arunsi that is your guide. So if you want to know who your particular Arunsi is, don't hesitate to contact UD and I with DBS, and we can tell you based on what information you give us which Arunsi is your guide. Okay. Mine, believe it or not, is Kamalu Yudi. Mine is Kamalu. Okay. And so each one of us have our own guiding spirits, just like everybody else. See, here's the thing. We admire what other people have. We admire it. Oh, I went to a Buddhist temple. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. You know what? You can create the same shrine in your house.
Yeah.
Find a spot and create that. What is it? If you go to any one of these places, it's just what the human beings put together. The spirits didn't come from the spirit world and decorate all of that. It was human beings that did that. So
True.
you can create your own shrine and make it as gorgeous as you want it to be, because that's your space to talk to the spirit for the specific things you want. The day that I unveil my shrine, UD, come and eat a goosey soup. I
I'll
know
be
you
there
love it.
immediately.
Because it will be the unveiling. All right.
I'll be
Because
there
I have
immediately.
all of the ROC. I have all of them. But my particular ROC is Kamalo. Okay. All right. But I have it for every ROC. You know, because at some point in my life, I need to focus on what particular energy, okay, they represent that I want. So you're not obligated to do all of that.
Mine is Agunsi.
Yours is Agunsi. You and Kellen are Agunsi. Okay. So what you have to know is that you have a responsibility. It's not for somebody to tell you, it's not for somebody to disagree with you. That is their problem. You created your psychological focusing. Some people actually use pictures, beautiful pictures, to represent the image, okay, for their psychological focusing. You can use pictures, you can use nature, things you find in nature, to create your shrine. Remember, it's your shrine. It's your shrine. It's not open for anybody's, opinion. It's for you to connect.
It's for your psychological focus.
It's for, thank you, Yudi. It's for your own psychological focusing. Yudi, speak a little bit. I want you to just speak a little bit about Fijoko. Speak a little bit about Fijoko and the similarity between Fijoko and the and Yoruba Oko. I think it's Oko in Yoruba, and then it's Voodoo. It's Voodoo. Huh?
Voodoo in Togo. Well, Fijoko is the spirit that is responsible for the totality of vegetation.
Yes.
With emphasis on agricultural vegetation.
That's
for
right.
the farmers, people that are involved in farming, Fijoko is the most important, arunsi, that they focus on. So somebody who is heavily into farming, for the most part, you will have this Fijoko shrine, right? That you consort, as you ask for blessings and all that. And of course, that is, I think it's called Orisa Oko in Yoruba. And then, of course, it's called Voodoo in Togo and Dahomey, which is likened as the vegetation is like the hairs of God, right? The trees and the plants and all that. It's like God's hair, stuff like that. That's what it is, It's unfortunate that for us, Fijoko, for Dahomians and Togolese is Voodoo, but somehow Voodoo morphed into Voodoo.
Yes.
Right? and Hollywood took it to another level. And all of a sudden, everybody's talking about voodoo, and it's all witches and wizardry and all that. But there's really nothing like voodoo, right? Spiritually speaking, voodoo is a corrupt word for voodoo by the French, who were trying to understand this process of supplication. So in their inquiry, they asked, what is it that you guys are doing? What are you doing? And they said that they were paying homage to voodoo. And voodoo, the French called voodoo. And then Hollywood in the 30s now took it into, all kinds of movies. And you see people with their faces painted black with white outlines for their eyes and all that kind of stuff, and doing all kinds of heebie-jeebie dances and all that. And then it becomes this thing that you have to be scared of, as opposed to, people that are paying homage to nature, a very important part of nature, which is Ani, right? Not Annie, but the vegetation, that Annie supports. You see, and you can see that relationship when you talk about, the ontology, right? You have Annie, and then Annie comes before Fijoko, and it supports Fijoko.
Yes.
Right here, which is vegetation
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So that's really, and then of course underneath all that stuff is our ancestors who exist in memoriam, as a fountain from which each family draws inspiration for sticking together, for higher inspirations, pride, self-confidence, and of course noble deeds. You talk about your great-great-great-grandfather and your great-great-great-grand-uncle he was a great hunter, he was a great warrior, and stuff like that. And you see things in your bloodline that gives you a sense of pride and just makes you feel good about your bloodline and how you fit squarely into your community. Now imagine if you didn't have any ancestors. It just means you wouldn't exist, would you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If nobody came before you, you wouldn't be here, would you? So that's just how important your ancestors are. They lived so that you could live. If your ancestors were wiped out by maybe some kind of a natural event or something, you wouldn't exist. You would disappear. And depending on what happened to the specific community, and if the records that you ever existed, got blown up, maybe through some kind of seismic activity or something like that, or maybe you ended up like Atlantis, and people start wondering, did Atlantis ever exist or not? And maybe at some point, through archaeological finds, maybe somebody will not know that at some point your clan did exist. But other than that, you have to know where you've been to know where you're going. And your ancestry is an integral part of who you are.
I wanted to add this. There's a tendency when we talk about shrines and the images that we have in the shrines for people to call them idols. So idol worshippers, and that's one of the things as well that get our people kind of spooked. Not to honor,
very important point.
Without realizing what those things are. It is the person's desire to replicate or represent some aspect of Chineke. Because if Chineke is a man eminent in everything, then that means that a little piece of Chineke, that spirit, is in that image that the individual has in front of them to focus on whatever they're looking for, they're praying for. But the Europeans have called it idol worshiping, and so we got scared, so we're afraid to create our shrines because we don't want to be seen as idol worshippers. You're not worshiping an idol. You are creating an environment to help you to focus. And if you believe in the eminence of Chineke, that image that you put in there, the ROC, okay, has a piece of Chineke in it. That is what makes you focus on that at the moment that you are looking for whatever it is you're praying for. That image that you have in front of you, it's not you're not worshiping the idol. You're focusing. It's allowing you to focus, okay, on what it is that you're looking for. Right now, many of us, I will be honest with you, many of us, particularly also Africans, we are so spooked. You can't even there are some Africans right now, you cannot bring them to come into a shrine. They will not. They're so scared. Now, if your God is so powerful, why should a carving scare you? Why do you attribute power to a carving when you say your God is so powerful? But you walk into an African shrine and you freak out. You don't want to be there. What kind of evil is in there that your God cannot protect you from when all is said and done? So we have put enough fear in our people that those things that are sacred to us, those things that help us be who we are. I said it earlier, go to a Buddhist home. They have their temple in there. They have shrines. Of course, they call it temple, Buddhist temples. They have it in their homes. They're not afraid. They don't need your approval. They don't need your validation. They've already validated themselves. And if you go there, a friend of mine, when I was living in Detroit, she's a Buddhist. She's an African person, but she was a Buddhist. Okay? And you go to her house, she's got this Buddhist shrine. And she sits in front of it and she chants. She's Nigerian. But that's perfectly okay for her. She's comfortable with that. Why, Yudi? Because the Buddhists don't ask for validation. Right?
Yeah.
They don't. This is who they are. They invite you to be a part of it. If you choose not to be, it's okay. It's the same thing with Christians. It's the same things with Muslims. They have embraced their culture or their spirituality. They're not asking for your validation. They tell you, this is who I am. This is who we are. This is what we do. And you are welcome to come and be a part of it if you wish. But they're not seeking your validation. We are the ones seeking validation. We don't need to be validated. We just need to embrace that which makes us, whatever makes you a good human being is worthy of praise. Let me say it again, if you didn't get it the first time. Whatever aspect of Chineke makes you a worthy human being, a kind human being, is worthy of praise. That is what our shrines here. I consider myself, quite frankly, a kind person. I go all out to be good to people. I don't always succeed, but for the most part, it is my spirituality. Me getting up in the morning and pouring libations and calling up my ancestors, but believing that my ancestors are around me all the time, it makes it difficult for me to do bad things. It makes it difficult for me to be cruel, because I believe that I'm the ancestors, the spirit of my ancestors are around me. When my children was little, I think I told you this before, perhaps I've shared it here. When they were real little, I used to decorate a chair. And I tell them, this is Ochechukwu. This is where Chineke sits. So whatever you're doing, you're being watched by Chineke and the ancestors. I can leave $100 on the floor. Namdi will not pick it up. Adora will not pick it up. Kelena will not pick it. That $100 will be on the floor, or dollars will be on the floor when I get back. They won't even touch it to pick it up and put it away from me. They just leave it alone. Because guess what? That chair, Chineke is watching and the ancestors watching. But that's what guides them. To this day, my children, I can trust them with my bank account. I can trust them with anything. I'm not scared that they will do anything illegal. I'm not scared that they will hurt me. Anything that I put in their hands, I have in my heart. I trust that they will do the right thing. This is how they were raised. Because I wasn't shy about raising them the African way. That's who they are. They're African people. Raising them any other way, God knows where I'll be today. Now, that's not to say that they're not children who are raised outside of the African, purview that don't do well. That's not the point I'm making. But for my family, understanding African way of life, African spirituality was important. And I'm looking at these grown adults, honest. I don't want to embarrass my son. He's nobody. He is nobody's baby daddy. He is very, very firm on being a responsible adult. My youngest girl, the same thing. My older girl, she has children, but she was married. But you have to, you cannot be a serious human being if you do not do the right things, the way you conduct yourself. If you believe that the ancestors are watching you, that the spirit of the ancestors are around you, that when you call them up, when you call their name, you're bringing them up. You're bringing up their spirit. You got to do the right thing. So it is so important. Yudi, I want to read this right quick. Let me see. You know, Yudi, this is one of the things that I haven't found out, and I said earlier that we're going to have another discussion on that. Why the sun is as likened as the head of Chineke does not have a shrine dedicated to the. Now we have a shrine dedicated to Chineke, which is called Obasioha. Okay, that's the where everybody comes together and gives supplication to the to Chineke. The ontology, the Godhead, which is Anyanwu, there's no shrine dedicated to it. Food for thought, Nani, Yudi. We're going to have to investigate that, because every book that I've read it says that there is no shrine, but it doesn't tell me why. So that's a research that we have. Okay, go ahead, Yudi.
Yeah, it was you know, unfortunately, should I say, yeah, it's an unfortunate situation that, you know, most of the time religion is spread and information is spread through what we call imperial patronage, you know, where somebody in power, maybe the king, maybe the president, but the emperor, but whoever leads the people, you know, establishes a religion and thereby permeates the information about that religion to the masses in a very positive light, which is something that existed in our communities until the reappearance and the Muslims or the Arabs came to our shores with the Bible and the Quran in tow. So by muddling and creating this misconception about African spirituality and belief system, people now use words that seem to demonize things that people of African ancestry or do, or people that are not doing things according to the Abrahamic religions. Words that are used to describe what they do are usually different from the words that are used to describe what people in the Abrahamic religions do. For example, a shrine, which is what they will call my place of worship, is a holy place because of its association with divinity. And it's marked by a building or other construction. That's what a shrine is. That's what a church is. That's what a mosque is. So if you're going to call yours mosque and you call it shrine, blah, 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 just make sure you remind everybody that it is a shrine. So a shrine is a shrine, no matter what you call it. We call it Obasioha for us. For them, in Christianism, it's called a church. In Islam, it's called a mosque. But they're all shrines. So there's nothing that you're doing that they're not doing. They're doing the same thing, but the way, the narrative, the way it is presented in such a way that the African is made to look primitive, look evil, and look like he has no idea what Chineke is, what the creator is. That we're running around here in a birthday suit, worshiping whatever.
Yeah.
Not just the creator, right? So that's the narrative. And then let's talk about idol. An idol is an image or representation of a god used as an object of worship. But you don't want to call your crucifix and your your image of Christ in church, or your Muslim, saints, or any other holy person in any other religion, you don't want to call their images idol, but you call ours idol.
Yes.
But when you want to talk about that, you talk about, St. Patrick. And then you see all this, Catholic, what do you call them, ceremonies, where they're marching in the street and they're carrying this image of St. Patrick. But if I eat fried chicken, it's a black thing, but I thought everybody loved chicken. That's what an idol is. It's an image of representation of God as an object of worship. So don't call mine idol and then call yours something else. It's the same thing. There's no difference. And then let's talk about religious imagery. It is visual, or should I say visual art, that conveys religious meaning or belief. And it's used in many religions all, through our history.
Mm-hmm.
Religious imagery is visual art that conveys religious meaning or belief. Without religious imagery, what do you have? Nothing. Whatever comes out of your mouth, you have to represent it through religious imagery. Religious imagery is used to depict the divine, to depict God. To some people, gods, angels, whatever. Religious imagery is used to depict humans, to depict the world, to depict rituals, to depict symbols, which all religions do. So don't do the same thing, but then try to present mine as something that is evil and make yours, what God prescribed. Only through your own process can I be blessed. Suddenly, diversity is not divine anymore. And when I say diversity, I'm just not talking about just race, even how we behave, what we like, our environment, skin color, our likes. A car is a car, but not everybody drives a Cadillac. Some people like a Mustang. Some people like a Ferrari, but they're all cars. Depends on how fast you want to go there, or get there, and what the speed limit is, or whether you just want to kill yourself by going too fast. But either way, all cars are designed to get you from point A to point B, regardless of what the model is. Different kinds of airline companies, but they're all airline companies. They all serve the same purpose to get you where you want to go, fly you over there. So the point I'm trying to make here is we have to be able to tell our own story, because when we tell our own story, we present our story the way it actually is. And we don't let somebody's prejudices influence how our story is presented. Now, you either want to be free or you don't want to be free. And when you say you want to be free, what exactly are you talking about? Supposedly, the chains are off physically, but mentally speaking, oh, we got the chains up here. We're still in the dark. I think slavery and colonization has really taken a lot away from the Africans' mind, and we need to reclaim it. The greatest tool in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. They have our minds right now. That's why we don't see any value in what we do. We don't see any value in our contribution to civilized behavior. We don't even think we contributed anything at all. In math, for example, who knew that one of probably the oldest mathematical formula discovered the Lebombo bones in Central Africa 35,000 years ago, used to calculate distances and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
who's talking about the civilization in South America, South Africa, that is over 200 and some thousand years old. Hidden history. And sometimes when the science is so much that modern science can't figure it out, then they'll tell you the aliens did it, like the pyramids in Egypt. The African can't be that smart to build a structure that complex. So the aliens must have done it. But nobody really in our schools are teaching anything African. I mean, how far back, like you said before, I can understand why you can't really go so far back, to trace your lineage from Africa, in Africa, because of all the, devastation that went on during colonization and slavery, cities that were destroyed, people that were murdered, just totally annihilated and enslaved, and, people that were just redefined, your way of life destroyed, supplanted with something else. The God that you worshiped and believed in changed. You became something else. Even now, in a lot of African communities all over the world, including here in the United States, we are manufactured people. We're not really who we are or who we're supposed to be. We're not standing on our own truth.
Yes.
We're somebody else. We do things everybody else told us that we're supposed to do to be relevant, to be accepted as civilized. And so because of it, this self-hatred is sinks in.
Yudi.
Yeah.
I want us to have this conversation. Thank you for what you just shared. But when we, in African spirituality, we say in Igbo, I use that, Monachiso.
Yeah.
Monachiso is perhaps the most powerful spiritual statement you can make to yourself. Because what you're saying is, I am one with the power. The greatest power is Chineke. And I'm one with Chineke. Now, we are told in our spirituality, our ancestors knew there is no halfway bus stop between you and Chineke. That's why we say, Monachiso. I walk with the Creator. There's no bus stop between me and the Creator. We are.
God, no distance.
We walk together. I am a powerful being because the most powerful energy walks with me. But we have been taught now that we are not connected. Now, this is what our ancestors believed. That's why you've got to go back and check out your ancestors and what they believe, because that's what impacts or should impact your life. Now we've been taught that there is a distance between us and Chineke. Am I right?
Yeah.
Now you have to go through the last messenger or the only son or whomsoever before you can go to God. When I talked about the Aronsi represents systems necessary for your psychological focusing and environmental tranquility. Still that connection, because that is an aspect of Chineke. But it doesn't say that Chineke is away from you. It doesn't say that there is this particular son of God or this particular Messiah, messenger, that if you don't pass through them, then you can never see Chineke. But the Africans say, Monachiso, I'm one with Chineke. And Chineke has given me all these essences of Eke and Chi that I can tap into at any time to focus on and ask for what I want. It's such a private, such a beautiful connection. But people are stressed out today because they must follow this particular son or this particular messenger or this particular this, that, and the other. And if you don't, you know where you're going. I don't want to tell you, but they tell you where you're going to go. But it is something, it's outside of the traditions of the people. You're a father. Okay, let's say I'm a mother, yeah, and we want to speak to Chineke, your son or your daughter come to you to ask for help, right?
Yeah.
Now you got two sons. Let's say you have two sons and one daughter. Then you tell your son or daughter who came to you that they cannot come to you directly. They have to go to your middle first through your first son before they can come to you. What are you creating in your household?
Separation.
You are distancing yourself
Yeah.
from your children. Your child, each child in your household should be able to come to, hey, dad. They shouldn't say, well, let's say Uche is your son. Say, hey, Uche, can you go tell dad this for me? Uche, can you go say this? Tell dad this for me. You know what Uche is going to start doing? Cough it up. Give me some money. Give me some money.
Charging you some money. Say, look, man, I'm tired. Here comes the police.
If you can't go to dad, it's going to cost you $1.
Yeah.
Then you take $1, then maybe come to you, UD, and tell you something that the other child didn't really say.
Yeah, he'll come to you with your what do you say, your 10% proposal.
Yeah, he can come up with something totally different from what your other child asked. And then the other child is asking, why is it every time you take the message to dad, dad always comes up with something different?
Yeah.
Because that intermediary may not be communicating to you.
May not be saying the right thing.
You see, I'm just using that as an analogy. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas if your other son came to you directly, he tells you exactly what he wants. Your daughter tells you exactly what she wants. And you communicate directly with them what you want them to know. You respond accordingly. And you eliminate your middle son who's taking $1 here. And, that's why you go to the church. You got to pay tithe. You got to pay this. You got to get this so that they can take the message to God for you.
And God don't get a lot, and God don't get all the money,
Yeah. But that's not how our ancestors believed. Our ancestors believed that communication with Chineke requires for you to go, find a spot where you can have that conversation to an aspect of Chineke right there. That thing is not going to ask you for money to take it to Chineke. You're voicing it, you're airing, you're saying everything you want right there. And then you go out and make it become a reality. You see what I'm saying?
They say, like you were saying, they say psychological focusing, right?
Yes.
Now, that psychological focusing, finding that hollow spot to get the psychological focusing is getting in touch with yourself.
That's it.
The God you seek is in you. That Chineke you seek is right there. It ain't up there, it ain't nowhere, it's there. You're part of nature. You're part of this nature, and that psychological focusing, the idea behind it is to bring you one with nature. So you could feel the presence of Chineke.
That's right.
And that's it.
That's right. You have to have that connect. Muna Chiso. For all of you who are here, you need to learn how to say that. Muna Chiso. I'm going to say it again. Munachiso. I am one with Chi. I am one with the Most High. I can achieve anything. You know, I was watching a video that really touched me. A man was drowning, and everybody else was scared to jump in the water to save him. You can see in the distance as his hands are flailing in the water. He's drowning. People are wondering, should I jump in and go help? One man said, Yudi, Munachiso, I am one with the power. I'm going in. I am not scared. I am going to go and help that man. When the rest of them were scared, praying, oh Lord, intervene. You are. That power you're asking is with you. Go. This man, when I saved this man's life, you should have seen him swimming to this man. He would have drowned. But at that moment, I said, "Ooh," this man said, Munachiso. Yeah. I have got the power with me. My ancestors. He said, come on. Ancestors, let's go. Let's swim and go and get this. But when you are scared, when you're told, see, the man is drowning, you got to pause to say, okay, who do I ask? So and so, could you take this message to Chineke? What should I do in this situation? By the time Chineke says the message back to you, I say, go save the man. The man is drowned. Yep. But that's not what we believe. Munachiso, I'm telling you, Yudi, I can walk into a room full of people I don't know. People who hold high offices. But when I step through that door, I say Munachiso. That means I have nothing to be afraid of. Guess who's next? I say our ancestors. Oh yeah, let's go. Spirits. The spirit of our ancestors is with me. Let's go.
The armor of Chineke.
The armor. I'm not scared. Let's go. By the time I'm done, people want to talk to me. Because you have to exude courage, confidence. If you believe now, Genachiso, what is that? What are you afraid of?
True.
And if somebody confronts you, you know what we say? You can't. There's going to be somebody in a crowd, in an environment, in a room that's not going to like you. In Igbo language, we say, let the good fall into my hand, let the bad stuff move on. I ain't got time for you. But you don't shrink into greatness because you are with greatness, which is Chineke. See, our people have lost that confidence. The first thing you can do to bring the people down is to take that confidence from them. We need to reclaim that. This is what Chiism is about. Reclaiming that confidence, reclaiming that pride. It doesn't matter what's going on around you, whether they like you or don't like you, or, oh, we don't like black people, or we don't. That is their problem. That's their problem. Because the person in the know, Chineke already knows. You're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. Nobody created you but Chineke. Yes. Through your mother and your father, you came to be. Nobody was in the stomach, in your mother's womb for 8 months but Chineke. So they don't have the right to tell you what you can or cannot do. Be what you can, what you can or cannot be. And I do apologize for the reception in this room because it goes in and out. Okay. But the bottom line here, people, is we need to reclaim. We need to reclaim our power, and you reclaim it by embracing and celebrating all that you are. All that you are, Chineke is. All that is noble, Chineke, you are. The power of Chineke is in our minds than any condition in the world. You know, condition. Our minds are conditioned to think that we're less than. that the world conditions us. Somebody was talking about the fact, oh, you go anywhere in the world, black people are hated everywhere in the world. No. Black people are not hated everywhere in the world. Black people don't need to be validated. What do I care if you hate me or don't hate me?
Yeah.
I'm already validated. Chineke hụrụ m n'anya. You see, when I inhale and exhale, every single day I have breath.
I'm of divine construct. I'm
validated. I don't need you to validate me. So don't talk about the fact that, oh, black people are hated all over the world. Who cares? You keep walking in holy boldness.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like you, Nadem Sabi, as we say in the pro, Nadem Sabi.
And there are no problem with that.
What do I care?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need your validation. You are validated already. Chineke has validated it. That's why I said earlier, Monachiso, learn how to say that. Monachiso, I am one with the greatest. I am one with G, I am one with the K.
Monachiso, yeah.
Monachiso. Greater is the power. We say that. Greater is the power of Chineke in my body.
Yep.
Than any affliction in the world. Yes, we're all going to die someday in the fields on the bleachers. We are going to leave this earth. But don't die before it's your time. Many of us die before death finds us. Because the doctor says, you got 2 days to live. Then you just give up. What's the point? That's why when the people call me to tell me, because of my age, it's time for me to start looking at life insurance. I say, for what? I'm still living. Yeah. I have life insurance policy. It's important. Yeah, I got that. But don't harass my life every doggone day preparing for my death. Don't you get that? I say, I'm still alive. I am working with the Most High. I've got things to do. I'm not going to focus on that. But once you get a certain age, it's not true, UD. Once you get a certain age, they give it up on you. Okay, are you ready for your family when you're not here? I say, oh my God, come on.
Give me a chance to think about it myself. Golly, you got to remind me.
Age has nothing to do with life. You can die at age 10, So we can't.
We can't thinking about it myself.
So anyway, somebody here said, you can't go. You did.
You can't go. I got a phone call talking about you're qualified for Medicaid. I hung up.
I'm still living. I'm still walking. With Chineke.
What? Please.
I'm still here. I'm still doing it. But you want to remind me, okay, the clock is ticking. So anyway, for all of us seniors out here, you live and live until the day that Chineke says, okay, I got work for you to do. Until then, you got work to do here. You know what I'm saying? And just keep living. Stay connected. Stay connected to Chineke. Build your shrines. Build your shrines.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you, if you want, you can build the shrines to all the Arunsi. If you want to know more, just get in touch with us. And myself and UD, we're DBS and DBS Chedozi. We can help you identify your specific Arunsi that guides you, that you can set up your shrine in honor of. Okay, that offers you the tranquility that you need. But it's important. It's important that we don't just say that we're this, we're that, if we don't practice it. Practice it.
Mm-hmm.
Practice pouring libations to honor the ancestors, and practice getting up in the morning and go to your shrine and ask for what you want before you get started with your day. Because once you step out that door, UD, people have already prepared for you what your day will be. But if you're not prepared, you're going to waffle when you get out there. But when you have been in your shrine, you have prayed, you poured your libations, you know where you are going. It doesn't matter what people say out there. That's why, like I said earlier, I don't care who hates black folks.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's not my problem.
Mhm.
It's not my problem. That's your problem.
Yep.
Eh?
Haters will hate.
Every time I'm a manifestation of the divine. Huh?
Mhm.
Anytime that I step out of this house and I'm inhaling, exhaling. I'm
Exactly.
fine. I'm fine. So I don't need your validation. I don't need,
Yep.
I don't even want to get in that conversation who likes black folks and who doesn't. Who cares?
Not
Do we
my
know?
problem.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to justify our lives from our own perspective, not someone else's.
Hmm.
We
True.
lose a little bit of ourselves when we base who we are on what people think and say about us. At this point, Judy, I have some questions, some comments here that I would like us to just expand on. Go
Mm.
all the way and see the first. This person, let me see. First of all, I want to welcome Daniel. Thank you so much for being with us. Hey, Daniel Ndewo. Akachi.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Ndewo. Thank you. They've been with us most of it. Wokedi Charles Ugochukwu. Ndewo. Thank you for
Of
being here.
course.
DOCC. Ndewo to you.
Boom. Yep.
Ndewo. And then, of course, we have Emeka. Emeka Kawo. Welcome.
Yeah.
And we have let's see, we have a JVST. Welcome, Dewo, to you as well. And let's see, I have somebody else here. Ikenga Thoughts. Munachiso. He loves Munachiso. Good for you. We love it. And then
Yeah.
there's somebody else here. I saw somebody else here. But anyway, all of you who are here, if I did mention you, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I want to take some of these comments and expand on them. UD, this one is for you first and foremost. That you can work with that. Wokedi Charles Ugochukwu, just very
Mm.
briefly, he says there's
Mm.
nothing demonic about our ancestors. Yes, there's nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. Nothing. It depends on who's telling the story, right? And I said before, we never really promoted the idea of Islamizing African spirituality until Chiism came into the fight.
Yeah.
Originally known as the National Church of Nigeria. Before it was merged with the Ido National Church with Oba Ikenzwa the second in I think it was in 1963 to become Godianism, Chiism. So we in African spirituality, when it came to religion, were not in the business of telling somebody how to worship. We respected your right to worship God in the way you understood best, regardless of your creed and regardless of your color. That was true civilized behavior when, as an African, you were willing to defend the right of your neighbor to exist. You were willing to defend the right of your neighbor to their belief system, as long as they accord you the same level of respect, right? Because that's what fosters peace.
Yes.
That's what fosters peace when people are not just about being tolerant, right? But respect your right to exist. That's what true civilized behavior is all about. But unfortunately, what happened to Africa did not happen to Africa because civilized people came to our shores. They came there with violence and demonized our way of life and told us that we knew not God until they came, told us that we had to see God their own way. And if we didn't see God their own way, we will burn in hell. And worse yet, we will send you to hell immediately at the point of a sword or the barrel of a gun. And that's how we came to be demonized.
Yeah.
But there's nothing demonic about African spirituality,
Yes.
our religion.
Thank you.
Nothing. We're doing the same thing everybody else is doing. It's just called something differently, but there's nothing evil about us. If we're evil, they're evil.
Yeah, say it again.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is from Akachi Kachineke. It's more important we love and live our cultural identity as the U.S. moves toward extreme Christian religiosity. They ostracize Africans attempting to fit in when Africans should be themselves. Yes, yes. We need to be ourselves. We need to embrace ourselves. There's nobody, there's a song that we sing. Onwego onye ọbụla chikwu si na ọka ya mma, omenala anyị bụ eziokwu anyị. That means when Chineke created humanity, that diversity was created by Chineke.
Divine.
And Chineke did not say any particular group is better than the other. We use our culture. Our culture is our truth. And our culture is diverse. Find which one works for you and use it to make you the wonderful human being Chineke has destined for you to be. We're never going to fit in, as she said here. We're never going to fit in. We can participate. It's a global world, but we need to also remember that it's better to be who we are. No matter where we find ourselves, we must be who we are. So thank you, Akachi, for that comment. Let's see. This one, I'll take this one as well, just very briefly. Akachi says, I found, if you seek, you will find. I found as far as 1812. Wow. 7 generations and more than four lives of, okay, something is missing there. Of grandparents. Huh?
Lines of grandparents.
Yeah, lines, okay. Wow, that's for congratulations, Akachi. That is awesome. Love it. That's right. All of us should do that. All of us should do that. All of us should do that. Do your research. Yudi, this one is for you. This is from Charles Ugochukwu again. Okay. Reincarnation is real. Just very briefly. Reincarnation is real. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, our spirituality anchors on that. I say in a low right?
Yeah.
You got 7 chances to get it right, and that involves reincarnation. You come back over and over and over, or if you happen to live till the age of 80, then you've made it into the ancestral realm, and there's no point you coming back. You did it right. You're now going to be there with the ancestors. Ancestors, as we already, talked about, is necessary that we know who our ancestors are. It is said that a people without a spiritual culture do not exist. If you get to a point in your existence that you cannot find a spiritual culture in your history, in your lineage, then it means that you never existed.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile that?
Yeah.
You see, and that's how a lot of us in our communities, that's how we're living, that's how we're marching through life as a people who do not exist, as a people who know nothing of their spiritual culture.
Yeah. We have a whole lot to go through here. Here's another one. This one is from Namdi. You answered this. You discussed this one. This is just briefly. The DOCC. The idea of African or Igbo ancestral reverence is distant to even us because the imagery of our own image as power has been denigrated beyond appreciation. Yet others are seen as exotic.
And that's the truth. That's one of the how you say, the results of slavery and colonization, man. Everything about us. I mean, if you go down an ancestral line, as far as Africa is concerned, I mean, you know how difficult it is to see any African ancestor that did something great that was not a Christian or Muslim.
Yeah, true.
Yep. Think about what I just said right now.
Yes.
It's difficult to find an African hero that wasn't a Christian or a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about the recent, Johnny Come Latelys as the Kwame Nkrumahs or the Thomas Sankaras and all those people. I'm not talking about that. The Marcus Garveys. I ain't talking about that. I'm just talking about our heroes that we know in Africa, that we talk about, that find their way into our history books, are either bishop this or imam that.
Yeah.
That's it. But it is difficult, if not damn near impossible, to see anywhere where an African hero is talked about, particularly Igbo people.
Yeah.
That isn't a Muslim or a Christian.
Yes.
You see? And that's a result of colonization. That's a result of a systemic destruction of our history, our libraries, the insipid, writing system, all that stuff. The Akans in Ghana had their own writing system. In Cameroon, same thing. Igbos did the same thing. But there's nowhere in our scholarship right now, in school or otherwise, where anybody's talking about that, or where that is part of any curriculum to teach our history of writing, all that stuff, literature, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It does not exist anywhere in our school system. And until we pay, we start to dedicate some resources, to doing some research, to unearth some of the great contributions that our forefathers and foremothers, our forebears made.
Yes.
We're going to have difficulty in trying to, show the world that we've always been capable of original thinking.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Now, this is an interesting one. This is from Nandi. And it says, when Europeans burn down a church where Black people worship, are they destroying a place of refuge given by foreign figures, or a place of higher spiritual representation of that people's image?
The latter. The latter. It's a glorification. See, here's what it is. It is justifying your worth by standards that are not of your own. It is a way of, affirming their belief system. Is a way of you making them comfortable so that they can allow you to continue to survive, to continue to exist, right? They make you feel like if you don't support or believe in what they believe, if you try to stand on your own truth, your chances of living is diminished. You will be killed.
Mm-hmm.
You have you remember the movie Roots? You remember
Yes.
Kunta Kinte when he was being flogged and told that his name was Toby?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they kept flogging him. Say, your name is Toby. He said, no, I am Kunta Kinte. They kept flogging him until he says, okay, I am Toby. And then the flogging stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So from then on, Kunta Kinte became Toby. Kunta Kinte became Marcus. Kunta Kinte became Monday, Friday, Jonathan, Jeremiah, all that kind of stuff. You see? So, yeah, he's right about the latter. It is really a glorification of those people that continue to take away your freedom, because if you do not glorify them the way they want you to glorify them and justify your worth by the standards that they set for you, you will cease to exist.
It's as long as the representation within that church is a reflection of who they are.
Yes.
Then they'll take it away from you. Okay.
That's it.
But so you might as well be natural. You might as well now. But historically, the church has been the backbone for African Americans. It's been a place where they gathered, to find refuge. It's been a place that they've gathered to fight injustice and all that. So the church does have a very significant place in the African society, African American society, absolutely. But it's important that you know how you take a highlighter, and you have to go through what you believe within that, the confines of that church, and find what's applicable today, what is meaningful today, and what is not meaningful. You don't need it, you know.
Yep.
So to your point, yeah, when they want to destroy it, is because now you have said, okay, this is not working for me anymore. This is what I need in here, something that actually represents my people. That's something, you know, that's a reflection of who you are. You are nothing if there's nothing that you surround yourself that reflects who you are. You're nothing. You're just a glorified servant of someone else's culture, period. You
Well,
know,
you know what they say, the greatest tool against imperialism is your spiritual culture.
yeah,
You know, once you lose that, you pretty much lost it all.
you've lost it all. Burkina
Yeah.
Faso, right now in Burkina Faso, and what I admire about Ibrahim Traore is that he understands the psychology of self-indulgence, self-acceptance. He understands that psychology. That is why if you look at the videos, you will not see people surrounding him in anything but traditional clothing. There are two things that does. It tells them that you're okay. This is who you are. These things are your things. And when people are buying those clothes, not the suits and ties, what's happening is impacting the economy, because
Yep.
new entrepreneurs who are coming, who are making those clothes and what have you. Okay, so
New fashion houses.
point, regardless of how people feel about it, you have to validate yourself. You know,
Yes. True.
so that's very important. Now, this is something that Akachi Neke said. To name this point, I'm going through NMAC African American history cards, delving into the lives of each person through readings, documentaries, interviews. This is wonderful, Akachi. I applaud you, because you gain so much from you gain so much knowledge from what your people did, you know. And I'm not talking about necessarily all the ancestors. There are some people right now who are still living, doing exceptional things that we need to embrace. Now, let's
Yep.
remember, as they're getting rid of DEI and all of that, and it's a misconception that DEI is about Black people, because it's not, because it's just giving opportunity to everybody, white women, soldiers, and whomsoever. So it's not a Black thing. But as they are doing all of those, whoever is removing DEI, you have to be the one to speak and define yourself. You have to take the calculated risk, if I may call it that, to define and build for your children who they are. Let them know who they are. I don't need anybody to teach my children about who they are. If you don't want to teach them, that's cool, because it's not really your responsibility. It's mine. Do you understand? So if you're taking it out of the schools, you can't take it from the house. So our parents, African people, it is time for you to take responsibility for the mindset of your children, of your communities, of your household. Let us reclaim who we are. Let's do it for us. I don't want nobody teaching me nothing about me. Akachi just said it. She's doing her research. That's what we have to do. And then you sit back and say, because a world without Black people, trust me, is not a world at all. Civilization began with Black people. You can't erase our history. You can try, but it ain't gonna work. History is full of the achievements of our people. So we just need to research, remind ourselves, and also remind our children. Okay, let's see. You want to take this one? It's Akachi says, Ndiche, which are the elders, are remarkable. Shirley Chisholm, Paul Robeson, George Washington Carver, Jesse Lennon, Faust, etc. This is why we need to know what they accomplished in enemy territory, part 2. Okay. It's important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. That's what we talk about. You need to know where you've been to know where you're going. You need to know those people that paved the way, right? So that way we can understand our journey, not just within our own nucleus family, but within our own communities. We get to see the greats, those that accomplish great things in all areas of human endeavor. Gives you a sense of pride, a sense of continuity, a sense of responsibility, so that you could move the community forward. You build for the future. Our ancestors built for the future. That's why we're here.
Yes.
We're a part of their vision, what they built, right? So whether we live up to their expectation is up to us. They've done what they can. They're the reason why we're here. They paved the way. The clothes we wear, the food we eat, the knowledge that we have, how we understand ourselves is because they came before us. Everything we know is because of them. So please, ancestral reverence is key to us moving forward, and it is not the same thing as worship. We worship the Almighty Creator, Chineke.
Yes.
But we revere our ancestors. That's what we do.
That's what we do. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you, there's so many other comments. We can't get to all of them given the time constraints, but I just want to remind you that what we talked about today was the shrines of African mysticism. Please remember, next time when we meet, because we meet every 2 weeks, I want some people to share with me that they have, even if you take picture of your shrine, send it to me. I will showcase it here. We want to make sure that all of us focus on what makes us cheers. What makes us cheers is our honoring of Chineke and Arunsi. So let me know. And if you want to know which Arunsi is your guide, please don't hesitate. That's why I have cheesm.org. Go there. You can get in touch with us there. And it will show you how to get in touch with us, and we'll be sure to get in touch with you. All right. So I thank you guys so very much for joining us today. Again, please be kind to somebody. Let us not, just because somebody doesn't agree with us, doesn't make them the enemy. All right. Everybody has the right, like Adibia Yudi said earlier, everybody has the right to go to Chineke the way they understand best. We just protest when you tell us our way is wrong. But if your way makes you a good human being, you are good to go. We are happy for you, and we pray that whatever you believe in makes you the wonderful human being that you are supposed to be. All right. The trilogy of Chiism Network is the Model Show, which I host. The Chiism Live, the DBS of three of us participate in that, and we invite guests. And then the African calendar that's going to be launched soon is the other aspect of the network. So we are going to be expanding our network. I have a gentleman who's of a different African spiritual perspective. He's going to join the Chiism network, so that we'll just continue to expand. So please join me on Saturday on Ntomodo Show. You just go online to Ntomodo Show and join me on Saturday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure! It's always a pleasure. I don't know about you, Yudi. It's always a pleasure for me to have this
pleasure for me too.
gathering with our brothers and sisters. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. So, one more thing, please, if there is any particular topic that you feel very strongly about, that you want us to talk about, please let us know. Go to chiism.org. You can leave messages there, and we can we can talk about what is important to you. It's very important to us that you are enjoying being a part of this experience. So on that note, I say good day to you all. I wish you well. Wherever you go, in the morning, afternoon, evening, the spirit of Chineke, the energy of the ancestors shall surround you. You are walking with the Most High. You're powerful beyond measure. Make sure that you believe that and you go for it. Yagazeno. And so it is. Thank you for joining us.